council meeting for Tuesday, May 23rd, 2017. And we'll begin, well, let's try a roll call.
Mr. Cerisi?
Here.
Mr. Roden?
Here.
Ms. McFerrin? Here. Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Here.
Mr. Scafidi?
Here.
Mr. Steele?
Here.
Now, if you would rise for the invocation of pledge led by Mr. Roden.
We ask for guidance and direction in all city matters before us tonight. We give thanks to be able to be together. Let us continue to strive to make our community a better place. Help us work together, and may we give our best always. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now the minutes from the May 9th meeting. Any corrections or additions, anyone? Let it show that the minutes then are approved as written. Thank you, Shannon. Audience participation.
Yes, we have Bob Thews.
My name's Bob Thews, 2229 Demi Drive in the Meadowwood subdivision. Good evening, Council President and council members.
Good evening.
I would like to personally thank you and sincerely thank you for your second vote on the Meadowwood Ethan's Way roundabout. In the past, this request would not have been honored. However, you are due the respect that you listened to the people this time. And I'm not happy with the vote, and as it how it turned out. I believe the $300,000 is a bogus number, okay? And when this was originally proposed years ago, there were two plans submitted, and it doesn't take $300,000 to pull drawings off a computer or out of a file. However, be that as it may, the vote was determined on this $300,000. And according to the way municipalities count their money, this is a savings. So I have a suggestion to how to use that savings. I would like you to buy a right-of-way from the Meadowwood complex and take it right out to Lisa Lane and pave that for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more?
There is none.
Thank you. Awards and presentation.
There is none.
Thank you. Okay, council communication, committee reports. Mr. Scafidi.
Thank you. Good evening. I have just one item. The BZA will meet tomorrow night at 6:30 right here in City Hall in the council chambers. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Mrs. Stoffer.
I did attend the environmental committee, but Mr. Roden's going to report on that.
Thank you.
And that's all I have.
That's it? Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Fury.
Thank you. The Park and Recs Commission will meet on June 22nd at 6:30. Earlier this evening, there was a Finance Committee. Items for discussion were the Ordinance 69, 2017, which will split general fund money 85-15 and put the 15% in a split between the SCMR fund and the capital fund. This is in order to build up reserves. SCMR are road projects, and capital are buildings and trucks, police cars, and anything that lasts 5 years that's over $5,000. Over the last year or so, there's been multiple discussions on putting in reserve funds for retirement, for safety forces, for the SMR, and for capital, and this is the first step to do that. The ordinance is on its first reading tonight, but I think it's a good idea and I'm in support of it. We also discussed the Moody's financial report for the city of Twinsburg. The city has been given a AA2 rating, which is almost the highest rating you can get, which allows us to get aggressive loans and very favorable financial terms in our dealings. We also reviewed the first quarter investments, and discussed understanding the costs of city services, as well as looking at a 5-year plan to become revenue neutral with the fitness center. At this time, I'd also like to give the finance report for Ms. House. She was unable to attend this evening. May 2017 local tax collections for the city of Twinsburg. Income tax receipts for May 17th totaled an amount of $2,339,476 compared to May of 2016 with receipts in the amount of $2,895,377. This reflects a decrease of 22% or $655,901. Refunds in the amount of $35,722 are also reflected in the May collection. Total year-to-date receipts collected for 2017 are $9,206,823 compared to 2016, where we collected $9,791,884. And this reflects a decrease of about 5.97% or $585,000. The net change distribution grand total for the individual net profit and withholder is $305,605. That's all I have this evening. Oh, the next finance committee meeting will be on June 27th at 6 p.m. in City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you. I have had no meetings, but the Twins Day meeting will be in 2 weeks on June 7th at the Twins Day Festival office at 7 p.m. Mr. Roden.
Thank you. So I was not able to go to the Environmental Commission, but I'm going to do an update, and thank you, Mrs. Stauffer, for going. On Saturday, May 20th, this past Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, the Environmental Commission distributed another 30 rain barrels to Twinsburg residents. We'd like to thank Coca-Cola for their donation of the rain barrels, and to Chris Campbell and Kenny for the pickup of the rain barrels, setup of the barrels, and also for putting a tent out in case it rained. And then the next time you can get any more rain barrels will be next year at Earth Day. Also, the Environmental Commission made a motion at their last meeting to form an Earth Day committee that will include the Twinsburg School students and teachers, Garden Club, the Twinsburg Garden Club, City Naturalist Stanley Stein, and some of the environmental commissioners. This committee was created to offer a variety of fun and educational opportunities for students and residents to educate the audience about the importance of stewardship of our vital resources in Twinsburg and to celebrate and educate Twinsburg's unique environment and natural resources through creative public outreach. Their first meeting will be June 12th at 6:30 p.m. in the Building Department Conference Room, and we are all welcome if you'd like to go as well. And the reason they formed this is there's been a lot of interest within Earth Day and trying to make it better each year, and then although it's grown and it's done that, it's going to be in better, so thank you, Daisy. And then lastly, the free document shredding day is Saturday, June 17th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. It's at the Public Works Building, and it's open to Twinsburg residents as well as the township residents. There's a limit of 10 boxes or bags per car, and we will have 2 trucks this year, so we should not run out of space and should be able to get everybody in there. So thank you very much.
What was that date?
June 17th. Again,
Thank you.
June 17th, 9 a.m. to 12 noon at Public Works. That's
Thank
all I
you.
have this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Steele?
The Planning Commission canceled their second meeting in May, so they didn't have any meetings. They had nothing to look at. The Golf Advisory Board, we're working on a date with Shannon to have the next quarterly meeting for that. And I was here for the Finance Committee meeting earlier. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. McFerrin?
I have no reports from any of my committees, but I did attend the Finance Committee earlier
Thank you.
today.
And the mayor is absent this evening. His son is graduating, and he's at the graduation ceremony this evening. And next, we have no department head reports. Next is legislation.
Yes.
Ordinance 61.
An ordinance amending Chapter 927 titled Municipal Snow Removal Services of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Twinsburg.
This is the second reading on this ordinance, and it changes the snow removal policy, and what is it, you have to have your application by the end of November, otherwise the fee goes up to $75 instead of $50, and that's the change that we'll be making if it passes. Ordinance 66.
An ordinance approving the recodification, editing, and inclusion of certain ordinances as part of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of Twinsburg, Ohio.
And this is the second reading on the annual recodification and editing and so forth. Ordinance 67.
An ordinance authorizing the lease of 2 vehicles through Serpentini Chevrolet for use by the police department and declaring an emergency.
I'd like to make a motion to put ordinance 67, 2017 on its third and final reading and declare it an emergency. May I have a second?
Second. I'll yield.
Mr. Steele, seconds, discussion.
The reason for the emergency is that this is a lease for 2 undercover cars for the police department. It's a 27-month lease for $18,168, and the emergency allows them to place the order immediately.
Any other comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Cerisi?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
The emergency clause passes 7-0. I hesitated because I almost said here, because it's going so fast. I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 67, 2017 as an emergency. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. McFerrin seconds. Discussion?
These are Fords, right? Yes.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Cerisi?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ordinance 67, 2017 passes 7-0 as an emergency. Resolution 68, 2017.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to prepare and submit an application to the Summit County Land Reutilization Corporation and declaring an emergency.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 68, 2017 as an emergency. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fury seconds. Discussion.
This is a grant application to the county that would be 50/50, and the money would go towards up to $25,000, and the money would go towards asbestos and site clearing of the old school.
Any other comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Cerisi?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Resolution 68, 2017 passes 7-0 as an emergency. Ordinance 69, 2017.
An ordinance amending Section 181.10, disbursement of receipts of tax collection of the codified ordinances of Twinsburg, Ohio, to provide for allocation of revenues between the general fund and the capital improvement and SCMR funds.
And that was the first reading on that ordinance. Council Communications. Ms. McFerrin.
I don't have anything.
Mr. Steele?
No.
Mr. Roden?
I have nothing this evening, thank you.
Mr. Fury?
We talked about a motion previously in the caucus in regards to investigating the costs and obstacles to getting rid of the house that's fallen in ill repair at the end of 91 and Post. So this time I'd like to make a motion that the city investigate the removal costs and any challenges to demolition of the White House at the corner of 91 and Post Road. Is there a second?
I second.
Ms. McFerrin, second. Discussion? We've already discussed it earlier in the caucus.
Mhm.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Cerisi?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Anything else, Mr. Fury?
Just like to congratulate the mayor and his family on his son's graduation this evening, as well as all the other graduates of Twinsburg High School.
Thank you.
Very good.
Mrs. Stoffer?
I have nothing this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Scafidi?
I have nothing.
Thank you. Well then. Anything else, anyone? Then we are adjourned.
How about that?